Hey, One World Entertainment, Galaxy Quest. You remember that movie? Yeah, it was one of them crazy piss takes of Star Trek, basically, in most sci-fi movies. And of course, it had the late, great Alan Rickman in it, as well as Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen and stuff. But apparently, they were going to do a sequel. Now, I don't remember the movie doing all that great on the big screen when it came out, but it's definitely one of them that got this massive following after it. Believe it or not, they actually still do conventions dedicated to this thing, which is insane. But Sigourney Weaver, of course, was doing a lot of conversation at New York Comic Con, mainly about Alien. She very briefly spoke about Ghostbusters, more so about the first movie, none of the rest of them. But she got asked about Galaxy Quest, that apparently they were very close to doing a sequel. And we obviously know why they haven't gone through with it, but before they pretty much decided not to, they were toying with the idea of replacing Alan Rickman with Benedict Cumberbatch. So this is actually what she had to say. We do have the video of it, so you may as well hear it from her herself. So this is what she had to say about it.
Those guys are still anxious to do a continuation. I know that you guys came close. Sadly, we obviously lost the great Alan Rickman, and I think right close to his passing, it was coming pretty close to happening.
Yeah, they were absolutely going to do it, and it had a very funny story.
Are you still in principle game, given the material coming in the right way, or does Alan's loss make it a little unusual or not right?
I think it would have happened by now, but I did, at a certain point, they talked about Benedict Cumberbatch playing a version of Alan's part. Very hard to come back to it without Alan there.
So you see it there. She even admits like it would be very hard to come back without Alan being there. And I love as well, it's not in this part, but what she was about to continue on saying was that a lot of Alan Rickman's scenes were actually cut out of Galaxy Quest because it's a kids movie, and apparently the stuff he did was not family friendly, and apparently it was the best stuff. So she even goes on to say she hopes they release a director's cut with them scenes back in there, which obviously would have made it an R-rated movie by the sounds of things, but they wanted a kid-friendly movie because it was going up, she said, against Stuart Little, I believe she said it was. So the idea that there's this like insane version with Alan Rickman just being pretty much Alan Rickman would be great to see. But it would have been really, really weird if a sequel came out, obviously without Alan Rickman and Benedict Cumberbatch. Now, the one thing she doesn't say anywhere, and the guy interviewing her doesn't bring it up, was he actually playing Rickman's character, who was called Dr. Lazarus, was it? I think. But that's the one thing they didn't go into. So, like, was he meant to be just another actor who got the role as one of these characters or something? You know, would the story have been, oh, he was written out and they wanted a younger star to come in or something? Don't know. Because she was saying as well, like, that this script was actually funny. The ideas, anyway, was, like, great, according to her, anyway. So she was clearly quite happy to go in to do a second movie. But then Alan Rickman passed away, and they toyed with the idea of bringing in Benedict Cumberbatch. But she even says it, like, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now, and it hasn't. So I think it is really interesting that they were toying with this idea. Now, obviously, again, there's so many incidents where an actor passes away and the studio moves forward with projects and just replaces that actor. You don't want to do it too close to the actor's passing, which is exactly what they were kind of hinting at when she was speaking here. It was like it was quite close to them moving forward with the project from his passing, but didn't happen. And of course, you see where studios kind of latch on to the passing of an actor and use that to kind of push the movie forward. Like, I think we have to point at Black Panther 2 Wakanda forever. The fact that they really did use Chadwick Boseman's passing to, like, a week after he passed away, they immediately came out and said, don't worry, we're still going to film Black Panther 2. And a week after that, they're like, don't worry, we're actually going to film it this year. And it was like, wait, what? And then they couldn't figure out whether or not they wanted to recast or not. That is something they should have recast. However, they should not have made it when they made it. They should have waited at least a year or so. You know, instead, no, they wanted to capitalize on his passing. Clearly, they weren't going to do that with Galaxy Quest. That they were like, no. And the fact that if Sigourney Weaver was like, it just wouldn't really work without Alan Rickman being there, then you're sure as hell know the rest of the cast were saying the same thing. So it even says here, like, it isn't known whether any original Galaxy Quest cast members would be asked back for the in-development TV show. The 1990 movie received strong critical praise at the time of its release and currently sits at a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. The film was a mild box office success, grossing 90 million on a budget of 45 million. So that's not a success at all. You did not make your money back at all. That's one of them articles where they think a budget is 40 and it makes 50, it's broken even. No. So it did not break even. It lost money. So, by the way, what this TV show is, an in-development TV show, it's the first I've heard of that. I didn't know they were thinking of doing a Galaxy Quest TV show. Surely you would be looking at it going, there is a show of Galaxy Quest. It's called Star Trek. Like, that's what Galaxy Quest is, like, a rip-off from. But it would have been really strange for Galaxy Quest 2 to come out without Alan Rickman, because just his deadpan reaction to things in that movie is like, he was to stand out in that movie, you know. I wasn't a massive fan of it when it came out. I've never really returned to watch it again, so maybe I should give it a couple of more watches and see if it's grown on me. I didn't outright hate it, but I love it like other people. But Alan Rickman was great in it. You know, he really was a standout. And yeah, I think, how would you be able to recapture what he did? Cumberbatch could do a good job as well, because he does pull off that kind of deadpan type of humor as well. You know, if you look at him in Sherlock and even Doctor Strange. So I think it could have actually been Doctor Strange that would have made them kind of go, maybe we could use this guy in this role. Because, you know, Alan Rickman, he only passed away in 2016. So, you know, even though it's approaching 10 years next year, but, you know, which is crazy. Like, it's a decade. It doesn't seem that long ago, and yet it is long. It's that weird kind of middle ground with that, isn't it? But what do you guys think? Would you have liked to have seen a Galaxy Quest 2? Would you have mind, basically, if they recast Alan Rickman's character with Benedict Cumberbatch? Or whether or not Cumberbatch could have been a completely different character, but same species that he was meant to play in the series? Do let me know. And what do you think about the idea of basically an R-rated director's cut? Let us know what you think of all this anyway. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe, hit the hype button, check out the memberships, all that good stuff. Cheers. I'll catch you in the next one.